Michelle.
Michelle did not join us.
Yes, she's on there.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Michelle's feet.
Who's going to be her evaluator?
She was evaluating Julie.
Okay. Julie, right? So
Wilford, you are evaluating
Michelle.
Michelle.
Okay, great.
And this, again, an icebreaker. Will the real Michelle please identify herself?
Yes. Will the real Michelle please identify herself? Because I don't know. I have been, I don't know what the word would be, accused, labeled, called very many different names throughout my life. And I sometimes when I'm with a group of people whom I feel comfortable with, and I know they won't call the shrink hospital, I say, well, actually, if you remember that old movie, The Many Faces of Eve, I'm like that. I've got multiple personalities. Occasionally, I see somebody's eyes go big, and I can see their brains are churning, and they're thinking, is she serious? Or is she just pulling her leg? And actually, if you'd ask me that question right now, I would say, I don't know. Because I don't know if I'm the only person. But I know in our club, in our 100% online club, I know I have another one at least, Miss Sako, who also calls herself weird, where I told her I am the queen of weird. I go around and I have conversations in my head. People are talking to me. Well, not people, me. Me is talking to me. And I thought for a while, maybe I'm crazy, but then I came across this book by Robert Fulghum. And I love Robert Fulghum. He's the one who wrote everything I ever needed to learn. I learned in kindergarten. And then he wrote several other books, like It Was on Fire, When I Lay Down in It, and several others. But one of the things I loved about him is he writes that in his mind, there is constantly a choir, a village of people talking and having arguments in his head. And he's never really sure who's going to win. And I was thinking, that's me. I have Michelle this and the other Michelle and the third Michelle arguing. And it could be as simple as one Michelle opens the freezer door, going to reach for her favorite Nestle drumstick. And the other one says, no, you're not going to do that. Get your second one for the day. And the third one says, oh, what the heck? There's a treadmill. You can always get on it and burn off the calories. And those are the usual casual conversations going on in my head. And I suspect that actually they're all me. They're just little faces, little facets of me. There's what I would consider the good Michelle. If you ever read Freud, that would be your alter, is that your alter ego? I think that's your alter ego. The conscience, the parent in transactional analysis, the memories, the recordings of what you should, the shoulds and the oughtos and the don'ts. If you're Catholic or Christian, the Ten Commandments, the things that you need to do. And that occasionally has a louder voice, but more often than not, it's the other Michelle. The one who's like, oh, but I don't want to do that. Oh, but I love Nestle ice cream. That's why that's why I buy them at Costco, because I get a big box and I don't have to worry about spending too much. I love ice cream. I've always loved ice cream. Who doesn't love ice cream? That is what Freud would call, Julie, watch out, what Freud would call I think he calls it the id, ID, it's id. And that's actually the part of you that succumbs to the more animal instincts. That's where the libido would also be. Sorry if we have any people below 18 years of age. But anyway, that is the part that is usually suppressed in civilized societies. You're not supposed to eat too much. You're not supposed to laugh too loud. You're not supposed to enjoy sex too much. You're supposed to be a good, well-behaved person. Well, that's the superego telling the other Michelle. But that Michelle is usually the one that has more fun. Ice cream is great. And just sleeping in is great. And just binge watching on Game of Thrones for the 6 seasons is great. I mean, that's the Michelle whom I want to be with most of the time, but I know that that's not a very, perhaps, proper place to be in all the time. But then there's also the other Michelle, the Michelle who is what transactional analysis would call the adult, the person who manages to balance between the parent looking down on the child. The adult is what Freud would call the ego, what Thomas Harris in transactional analysis calls the adult. And what maybe is just the Michelle who presents herself more often than not to people, the Michelle who meets her clients, the Michelle who was the district director and trying to be really the adult, trying not to be the child, saying, but we want to have fun, we're just going to have ice cream. So I just shared with you 3 facets of Michelle, and the adult Michelle is actually wondering right now, where is the timing device, because I don't see it.
We
I'm
can
guessing
see it.
I'm
You can see it. It is
4.5
yellow
or
now.
5. I don't. Sorry,
It is yellow now.
am I at 4.5, 5.5, 6?
Yeah, 6.
Yes,
I-
20.
There you are, because I couldn't see the timing device. But anyway, I think I've given you a snippet about who the real Michelle is. I still don't know. Once I find out, if I ever do, I'll let you know. Back to you, Madame Toastmaster.
The next part of our meeting is where everyone participates. It's called table topics. It's where we invite you to participate. And the person for today is our own Mr. Ralph Jones.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and everybody here. And we appreciate Michelle joining us from Oregon, and Julie joining us from UK, and Daryl joining us from wherever you're joining us from, Daryl. First day here at the NBC Speakeasy Toastmasters Club. Table topics is the opportunity to practice impromptu speaking. The timing of table topics, Stephanie, would be from 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, the green light will come on. At 1.5, the yellow light will come on. And in 2 minutes, the red, and you have a 30-second grace period to complete your presentation. Daryl, you have the opportunity as a guest to participate, but because I'm a heck of a nice guy, I'm going to let you go last, okay? We want to give the opportunity for table topics based on the timing. Give everybody an opportunity to participate. Since Julie and Michelle have already spoken today, we're going to ask the other people to participate. And I believe in giving people the element of surprise. So what I want to do is go around the room and ask people questions from the infamous book of questions. And for Michelle and for Julie, if you've not seen this before, it's something that I use in table topics when we don't have any other questions, and basically has 217 questions in this book. So what I'm going to ask each of you to do is give me a number between 1 and 217, and I will give you the corresponding question. And you must answer it within 1 to 2 minutes. Please be advised, some of the questions in the book of questions are kind of tough. In fact, some of them are just a little bit